As you know, the only way to start is to just start. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Spiteful Positivity podcast with me, your host, Andrea, of the brand Authentic Andrea. So, this is episode 10, which I promised that today would be a little bit of a backstory and a history into who I am. What is my upbringing? How did I get to be who I am today? And by explaining the past, it might just explain who I am today. I think it's pretty damn interesting. And just goes to show how we can use our past not to be victims of it, but to spiteful positivity your way through it. And it really, how it shapes who you are today. So I hope you enjoy the episode. And for those of you who don't know who I am, if you're new here, I am a self-rescue mentor. And what the heck that means is that I guide people to show them that they don't need to wait for a knight in shining armor or permission to live their best authentic life, because that's what I did for most of my life. And hence why, as a mentor, I'm not a coach. As a mentor, I use my own life experiences to walk the journey with you and to not feel alone. And whatever you are dealing with that might be holding you back, or you're too scared to take the next step, or sometimes it's nice just to have an accountability buddy, because life can be scary when we're doing things alone. And all this time, I was waiting for someone else to rescue me. When I started learning how to rescue myself, it is such a precious gift that I would love to impart onto others. Because, waiting around for life to get better, guys, you're just going to waste time. So I do have one-on-one coaching or one-on-one mentorship. And spaces are limited. I only take X amount of clients at one time. You can find the link to that in my profiles. And then if you're not ready for one-on-one mentorship, I do have my own courses that I have lovingly created for you, which make self-discovery simple. Really, it's step by step. The self-rescue blueprint is a little bit more in depth, 7 modules. It's not difficult, and they all follow on each other. And what I think is really cool about the course is that you can do it over and over again. And each time you get to know yourself just that little bit better. And just to get in touch with who you are, because how can you create and live a life that you love waking up to and that feels authentically like you if you don't really know who you are? Not just your ID number and your shoe size, like, who are you? What do you like? What do you don't like? And and then if you just want to dip your toe into the self-discovery pool, then I have the Unstuck starter kit, which is a freebie. You can grab all of these in the links in my profile. So guys, let's tackle today's episode of who I am. Why am I the way I am? So let's take it all the way back in our flux capacitors. And I was born, I'm only 30 years old, so 94 baby. And 2 days before Christmas. So it's me first, then Jesus. I need to establish my, establish dominance or whatever, authority. Me first. And you know what the funny thing actually about my birth as well? Here's where it comes to perspective, guys. This is what I do with the self-rescue mentorship. So to teach other people, and also I do it for myself on a daily basis. It's perspective shifts, and I've got an absolute knack and a talent for that. So, which is why I'm able to help people, because I go, oh, you could look at it this way, or you could flip it, and then there's the positives. So, my mom was on the pill when she had me, and for a lot of my teenage years, I was thinking, I'm a mistake. I wasn't really meant to be here because she was on the pill. I shouldn't have been born. And then now these days I'm going, my fucking miracle. It was just that one day she had food poisoning, threw up or something, and I saw my chance, guys. So, and then you get blessed by having me in your life. You're welcome. So, I just thought that was pretty interesting because, a lot of my teenagers, I had such a negative way of thinking about my own conception. So think better of yourselves, whether you're still an embryo or a full-grown adult. So, guys, it started all the way in Cape Town, South Africa. That's where I'm from, but I am half Greek. My dad is Greek, so that gives me an extra loud personality, you could say. That's where I get my feistiness, I guess, and that I just laugh really loudly. I don't know. I love people. Ambivert. Yeah. I've become very antisocial recently, but I still love working with people, and it showed in my career moving through, and also to why I love doing what I do now. So, yeah, mom, a single child to a single parent, really. Saw my dad every second weekend. So I had the wonderful opportunity of 2 homes, 2 bunk beds. I had 2 rooms painted blue. And that's a whole other topic. I've got a theory on why we have favorite colors. If you want to know more about my color theory, Andrea's color theory about favorite colors and what it means with yourself, put 2 or 3 colorful hearts in the comments. Also, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I mean, you've made it this far. Why have you not liked and shared it and subscribed it? Just like it anyway. I mean, just look at this. You're gonna love it. I'm telling you. Trust me. I'm your mentor. I'm your coach. You're gonna love it. So, right. And guys, even then, I was always overweight. I was a very good girl. I've up until now today, I've never had a hiding. I've never been grounded. I was almost like ideal. I'd just be seen and not heard. Of course, I was seen because I was very overweight. Once I started school, man, I was such a happy, laughing child. And as soon as I started school, I just pretty much had the life sucked out of me. Like, I think from the age of like 10, I remember saying to my mom, like, I hate school and I cannot wait to start working. I'm like, I would much rather work 12-hour days than be in school. And this was in primary school, guys. Age of 10. I'm like, yeah, no, where's those sweatshops? Where's those sweatshops when you need them? I know that's terrible, but that's honestly how I felt. When I went to high school, which was I moved to a small town inland in the middle of absolute nowhere. And that was a very country, everyone is in each other's spaces. And it was very Sierra Delon, very Days of Our Lives, soapy drama. It's always some scandals. And anyways, so small towns give me a bit of PTSD. And this Christian high school, this is what gave me the bad taste for religion. So I have faith. I have my faith and I walk with God, but I will not push other people to go into religion. It's you and your faith, and this is me and my faith, and I can believe whatever I want to believe as long as you're not hurting other people. That's my belief. If you want to believe in an empty 2-liter Coke bottle, that is your belief. As long as you're happy and you're not hurting anyone, it's all about having belief. Thoroughly recommend the book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. It shows that it's all you need is belief. It doesn't matter. Anyways, whole different story. Don't get me started on religion. But yeah, that also scarred me, guys. I got to saw the nasty underbelly at the age of like 16 of the dark side of Christianity and religion and Christians. I'm just going to leave that there. Still quite overweight, still very shy, still no boyfriend, still, not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. However, when it came to matriculating, I've always loved psychology. I've always loved how people, how humans, how we think, how we work, and why we think the way we do. Always been fascinated with it. So my dad and stepmom had moved to Scotland. Then I matriculated and I moved over to Scotland at the age of 18, which was pretty cool. But going from a small town where there wasn't even a working traffic light in the town to Scotland, it was so cool. I always tell people, I mean, to try and explain living overseas, like living in the UK for 5-6 years, 5.5 years, to tell that to people in South Africa, it's like explaining Hogwarts. It's 2 completely separate lives. And this was a while ago. And life was great, man. Like, the money went far. I've always worked as a waitress. That's what I've been doing for over a decade. I love working with people. And it's an easy foot in the door. And I still love psychology, but I just never knew. I never wanted to be like a clinical psychologist. Like, tell me how that makes you feel, and how do you feel about that now? I never really wanted to do that, but I knew that somewhere along the line, I wanted to put that all together. I had a best friend who we became friends at the age of 6, at the end of grade 1. And I moved to Scotland, and like 3 months later, she moved up to London. And she's like, dude, guess where I am? And I was like, where? She's like, I live in England now. So I was like, no freaking way. My bestest bestie, she's still alive, but she just cut the cord between us. I miss her so much. And yeah, so I got to visit her in England. She came up to visit me in Scotland. I had the absolute best time of my life living in Scotland. There's many people in Scotland who just have a place in my heart. Like, living there was literally magical, man. 18, from at the age of 19, I was independent, still working in pubs, bars. I worked at a casino for a while as a waitress, and I had such a great time. So it was something I enjoyed, but I knew that I never really I've got great customer relation skills, and I love working with people, joking with people, making them feel good. Um, just, I'm just really good at it. But I never really wanted to become a manager. I have had managerial positions, and I never wanted to own a restaurant or run the place on my own. That's not where my passion lies. So I ended up moving down to England eventually to go live with my friend. And then some crazy shit happened. I, the Royal Mail lost my passport, which had my visa sticker in it. So I went over to the UK because my dad's Greek, family of EU. So I got to stay there. But there was some fine print that we didn't really see or didn't adhere to. And I had to be financially independent. When I had been independent, or I had to be dependent on my father because he was like my sponsor. So I wasn't allowed to work. Even the Greek lawyer, he ended up saying, you should have just been playing PlayStation at home for the last 5 years. But I would be working 2, 3 jobs at a time. I'd be paying double taxes. I think it was like 20% taxes on both of those salaries. I had loads of stints I've even worked in kitchens. I've got some qualifications for that, minor stuff, but I can change kegs. I can do beer line cleaning. Yeah, dude, it was I've got quite the skill set, quite the random skill set. I've even qualified as a as an indoor lifeguard, and I'm terrible at swimming. So as long as you drowning on dry land, I can help you. Yeah, I love learning. I really do love learning. Don't get me to learn in school. But anyways, lost my passport. The Royal Mail did. Long story short of all of that, and then I met a dude, and it was probably one of my first serious relationships at the age of 21. And he was Italian. I'm Greek. Everything was olive oil and garlic. It was wonderful times. But then I wasn't able to I got a new passport, but I wasn't able to get my visa. There were some complications. So at the age of 21, we were dating, we were living together, but I nearly had to get married to stay in a country. And I'm thinking, you know what? Yes, everything is great with this dude, but I don't want to marry for this reason. It was a very difficult choice, and things between us kind of got a little bit hectic because issues. Basically, I look back now and I'm like, oh, okay, well, obviously he was dealing with those issues. I was dealing with my issues. I did give him an out to leave. But he had his uses because he was the one who got me into lifting weights and gymming. And I will forever hold it in my heart that I got to gym with him and the brothers on the older brother's wedding day. So I was like, all these dudes are so big and buff, and there's me. I'm just like, yay, we're doing back and biceps. So it had its uses. And, this is actually something I want to talk about next week, which is relationships and how relationships are our biggest blessings, actually, even the failed ones. So again, type down in the comments. I'm going to do it anyway, but I just want to see if you've made it this far, how we can use the negatives and the positive of relationships, because there's only so much you can learn on your own, guys. That's why we have relationships, either romantic, families, work, whatever. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that next week, talking about relationships. So where are we? In England, nearly getting married, and I decided in 2018, I was like, you know what? this is not worth it. I'm going to go back to Africa. I'm going to go. Oh my gosh! And at that stage, there was the farm murders going on. South Africa had Cape Town had like no water. So there was water. There was water shortages. There was Eskom and its power outages. So we have 8 hours or 6 hours a day with no power. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going from first world living, where my tips for a day or two could buy me like a week's worth of groceries. And there's transport and it's safe. I was allowed to walk home at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And my dad was like, if this was South Africa, my girl, he's like, I'd be waking up at 2 o'clock to come fetch you. But you just down the road, it's fine. And I was like, that's crazy. First time ever in my life living in a bedroom when I lived with my dad in Scotland, in Leith. And first time ever in my life not having burglar bars on my windows. Dude, it was crazy. I'm like, I can just jump out this window if I want to. Crazy. I was like, I'm not used to having this kind of freedom. So yeah, okay, moved back to South Africa. Dude, that was a adjustment. Going from first world living where everything was cheaper. I grew up from 18 till 20, 22, 23, I think, in a first world country. Life was so easy. Then back to Africa, and you got to be careful of this. And, it was just, it took me about a year to readjust. I'm not going to lie. And so I had met someone else and I moved in with him to Cape Town, and I fell into the wrong crowd. This was that was one relationship where I found out who I am not, so that I can look back and going, I'm never doing that again. And no shade on him. He was the perfect lesson. And shit, there's a lot where I'm going, if I see myself like slipping back into old ways and I'm like, okay, that's not who I am. But I had to experience that side to realize that that is within me. And for me to go, I'm not going to do that. Very rough crowd and really struggling it out in Cape Town. Finally broke it off in 2019. December 2019. And I was working at Hyundai. So this is the first time ever not working as a waitress. Still haven't done anything with my job or whatever. I was just surviving. I had very much what I wanted to say at the beginning. I have grown up with people around me who never accepted responsibility, who never went, oh, let me look at myself and fix things within me. No, it was always external factors had to change before they could be happy. So obviously that's the mindset that I grew up with. Everyone, my mom, my dad, people around me, everyone was just surviving. No one was really thriving or happy or living out their dreams or in, the relationship that they love or happy with their body. And everyone so that was the imprint, the blueprint that I had to live my life off of. So that's what I was doing. I mean, I was working 60-hour weeks because it was put into me that if you're not working 100 hours a day, you're basically going to freck. You will cease to exist, put it that way. It was all survival, survival, survival. So that's what I was living in, constantly stressing, high anxiety, depression, hating myself, hating what I looked like for all my life. And like I said, I'd have friends come and go, have relationships, like the two serious ones I've ever had. It was, I mean, I lived in the UK and England, or in Scotland and England, and I didn't take time to appreciate and go, sightseeing enough. And I didn't travel like I wanted to. I mean, Spain and France is like a fart away. I didn't do that because it was always like next summer, next this. I mean, I didn't see my mom for like 5 years. So that was pretty rough because it was just constantly survival and work. Ended up working at Hyundai just before vid, and 2020, the non-flashbacks we're all going to get from that. I have a feeling, guys, that I might have manifested the vid. The thing that we shall not speak of in 2020, because I just wanted to see my mom, man. Like, I hadn't seen her for a hot minute. She moved to another small town closer to the ocean. And I mean, this is where we live now. And I was like, I just want to see my mom. I'm so tired of this. I just had a breakup that was pretty hectic. I was earning not a lot of money and I was really just scraping by. And I was like, I can't take a day off because I just started with the company. And I'm like, I just want to see her for like a week or two. And guys, like 2 months later, national shutdown, worldwide shutdown, and I had to come move in with my mom. So I'm going, crap. It was just the coincidence of that all was kind of creepy. So yeah, now I'm living in this town in the middle of nowhere, and it's also, this is why I've got PTSD for small towns, because it's, even hearing today, people just gossip and they talk about, going, that's learning how to let people have opinions. And it's like, if they can't say things to my face, then it doesn't matter. So anyway, that's another lesson for today. Oh, guys, I forgot to let you know that today is the 8th of the 8th, and it's been exactly 8 months since I quit my Matrix 9 to 5 job, my real job, as some people like to call it. So apparently, starting your own business company, I own a company, guys, PTY Ltd. It's not real, according to some people. So here we are for the last 5 years. So now I'm living in this town with mom. During the vid, mom could still, I don't know if I'm allowed to, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say COVID. I don't know what's censored or not anymore. So during this time, mom was still able to work. She works for a company in Texas. We're in South Africa, so she works at night. And I just had the opportunity to be. My mom is like, Andrea, just be. And I'm going, what do you mean just be? what do you mean? Like, we never get the opportunity to just exist. It's always been stresses and work, and you got to do this, be here, do that, do that. And guys, I'm still learning. It's been, like 5 years now. And I have been on a journey of just being, of becoming, unbecoming, to become and be authentic. You see what I did there? And it's actually been the greatest thing that's ever happened. I have been able to learn languages in the meantime. I'm learning German. I can't speak Afrikaans still. It's easier for me to learn German and Latin. I've been learning Latin for fun for the last while. I love it. I absolutely love it. But don't ask me to speak a conversation in Afrikaans. I'm like, kyk die hond, hy blaf. And I've been able to study other courses. I did, where all of this then initially started with me becoming and moving into my dreams, was I started with a Money Savvy course, which I thoroughly recommend. Money Savvy. It was a financial literacy course. Best thing I ever did. Best thing I thoroughly recommend. Still check them out. I don't know if they do international stuff, but for South Africans, I got such a grip on my money. I learned how to manage the money that I had at the time. And I started, I've got like a retirement fund, an investment fund that I started a few years ago. So it's all compounding. Obviously, it's not a lot, but I learned how to budget. I love budgeting. I'm not normal. Okay, leave me alone. But yeah, this opportunity to now be with my mom, even though I thought Cape Town was where I wanted to be, I have now had the opportunity of discovering myself, like discovering I love budgeting, that I love learning languages. And then the next thing I knew, I'd actually studied to be a life coach with Andrea Coaching in South Africa. And that's where I was like, you know what? I'm a life coach. I don't want to be a psychologist. I'm essentially a life coach. And I get to, it's a life coaching for me, it's more positive and future orientated. And it's like, okay, you're at A, you want to get to B or Z, whatever. What skills and sets do you have for you to get there? I don't tell you what to do. Okay, I do, because I'm highly opinionated. And along with the gift that I have, which I'm still learning how to fine tune, I am great at shifting perspectives, like I said earlier. And I have an even better intuitive gift, which I'm now no longer afraid to mention, which is I can see the blocks that people have in their life. Well, it's like if they have a certain mindset that's going on, a certain pattern, because life happens in patterns, then I can see what belief they have, and then with that belief, that's why they're having a problem. Because, like, I can see the solution to their problem because of what they're saying or what they're feeling about something, or the what situation's currently playing out around them, or a repeated pattern over time. And I'm going, okay, there's a pattern, work it backwards. Here's your core belief that is limiting you or holding you back or stopping you from living your most authentic life. So yes, that is my passion. That's what I love to. That's what I've now recently discovered is really what I'm about. So I could have started all of this back in 2021. And when I had told some family members and I said, hey, like I'm a life coach now, the instant immediate reaction I got was like, what do you know? Like, you're so young. I was 25 or something. And they're like, what do you know? How can you help people better their lives? Like, you're so young. And that instantly killed the flame that I had, my passion inside of me. Because I'm going, shit, maybe I don't know. Like, maybe I am too young to help people. So this just goes to show how even family members can hold you back. Even now, where I am right now, I have registered a PTY Ltd, so it's a legit company. And still, I didn't get hype or not validation, but I didn't get that, wow, we're so proud of you, like da 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 da. Like, it was a mission to drag it out. And I'm going, I could have, that's what just frustrates me, is that I was listening to family for like, hey, look what I'm doing now. And I could have started all of this 3 years ago. But guys, that's part of the journey. This is part of my lesson to not rely on external factors for my validation and acceptance. So this also being in this town where it's very cliquey, and I have fallen into the wrong crowds a couple of times, and it can be quite toxic, and I prefer to stay out of that. And it's not for me. I'm not about the days of our lives drama anymore. Well, I never have been, but I didn't realize what it was at the time. So I had to be in situations that were not me, and the people pleasing side of me. And I'm going, ooh, this actually makes me feel uncomfortable, to learn who I am. But it only happens if you choose to see it that way. So I call these 5 years living in this town my personal development years. And that started as a joke, but now I'm actually serious. And to retract myself from the society that is here, I've learned to rely on myself and be my own best friend. So I'm actually so grateful to not want to be a part of society around me. And why is that? Because now I have no distractions. I know that sounds weird, but I obviously don't know how to balance these things. So the universe, the God, empty 2-liter Coke bottle is like, just stay there in your corner, learn what you got to learn, and then the good stuff will come after that. And that's what this whole journey has been about. I mean, even up until right now, I feel completely lonely doing this. I've actually become even more alone. I didn't realize that was possible in these last 8 months. I have pulled away from certain friendships and relationships because I realized that's not really who I am, or they don't see me as this version of myself. And I haven't still quite learned how to be like, hey, we've just grown apart, because the kind, sweet, happy, single, fat Andrea who used to exist, it's difficult to just jump identities. And that's what I've been learning to, like I said, I'm unbecoming to become authentic Andrea, become myself. So looking back, I have used, when you look back and you're going, oh my gosh, all of these situations, all of these places and feelings that I thought that I would never let go of, or that were actually weighing me down, have created who I am today. And that's where Spiteful Positivity actually came from, was from 2023, when I first decided to lose weight. And I knew, because of my legs and what they look like, I have very muscular, especially quads, but very muscular quads and calves. And I was like, let me do a bodybuilding show one day, but I'm not ready for that right now. I first had to lose some weight. I'd lost half my body fat percentage in like 5 months, I'd lost like 15% body fat. So I went from like 32 to 17, something crazy. It was pretty rough. And in that time, I also had a situationship that I was in that was also toxic. But then again, I saw it as, I mean, I think there was like 4 years between where I'd actually been seriously like dating someone. So I kind of had a feeling it was just my putting my toe back into relationships. I had to work every day as a waitress, or else I was going to lose my job. Working every day on my feet. I mean, I worked at a really great restaurant, guys. It was awesome, and that's where I got to practice my German every day. So I was in a really bad way when I was eating probably like 800 calories a day, if that, spending hours cooking and eating nothing. Really toxic situationship that I was in that I really wanted to just get out of, but it's like, is it just me? Is it him? Is it the trauma? All that nonsense. And yeah, prepping for the show, posing, and to be in a bikini on stage, guys. That was my first time ever in a bikini in public, like ever. I don't do bikinis, not even like in the house, unless I'm just tanning in the backyard. So this is where Spiteful Positivity was created, because I had a friend at the time who was sort of life coaching me through all of these things. And she's like, Andrea, don't you dare give up. And I'm like, she's like, don't you dare give up. And I was like, yeah, out of pure spite, I'm just going to get through this. And I was like, all these things are weighing me down. And because of all of this, I'm going to use that to my advantage. And it's going to be my fuel to freaking smash this. So Spiteful Positivity became a thing. That's where it was created. And I'm still using it now today with what I'm doing. It's when everything is stacked up against you, you're going to go, oh, okay, so I'm overweight. I've been overweight my whole life. I'm going to go and do a bodybuilding show. Oh, okay, so I grew up not knowing what a loving relationship is. I'm going to have the best, most beautiful Hollywood relationship that ever existed. You know, like I'm going to be with my soulmates. I'm going to be the happiest, healthiest version of myself in all the ways, because I didn't grow up and I never knew what that looked like. So I'm going to create it. So again, whatever situation you're going through right now, and if you want help with that, that's what the coaching is for. Message me, let's chat. I can show you that whatever you're going through right now can be used as fuel to your advantage. And you go, absolutely, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Or you're like, you're broke today. Who says you can't still be a millionaire in 5 years? Who says? Who is actually saying that you can't? You. That's the issue. So Spiteful Positivity came from that. And then, yeah, last year I still did a second bodybuilding show, like an actual real bodybuilding show. The first one was just transformation. This one was a legit thing, and it was so cool. It was the best experience. Rough experience, but an awesome experience. And it's something I'm still going to continue doing, because I don't do it for the validation. I'm doing it because of the overweight, chubby girl who never used her body, who was never in touch with her body, who never liked being in her own body. And now I'm going to go out of spite. I'm going to become an IFBB pro. That's my goal. I don't plan on going to Olympia or, going too far. And I'm so glad that there is a natural NPC series so I can remain natural. I just want to push my body and see how far I can get. And to look back 5 years, I mean, if you told me I'd be actually doing a bodybuilding show, I'd be like, you must be mad. So it's amazing what you can do, what you get when you get out of your own way. And yeah, also having the right kind of support in the partner, because now I have a fantastic boyfriend, and even though it's long distance, I have never felt closer to someone, and makes it all worthwhile in the end. But again, I will save the relationship stuff for next week's episode 11, which is ironic because it's like 11:11, and it's also the Four of Wands card, which is the 11. If you know, you know. If you don't know, and if you don't know tarot, then it's just for the ones who know. I think it's a cool correlation. So lastly, yeah, these last 8 months has been a further journey of learning myself, starting a business, starting your dreams, guys. Like I've had all the reasons, the excuses, the limiting beliefs to throw in the towel. I mean, 8 months ago, I have created so much in the meantime. I've got, like I said, the coaching, I've got, the paperwork, the contracts, invoices, I've got coursework, free and paid stuff. Also, the self-rescue blueprint, I forgot to mention, has a payment plan option. Just because I know my worth, but I also want to make it accessible to more people. And I also drastically cut the prices recently. So please grab your copy, and I hope that you can enjoy it. Well, I know that you will enjoy it. So the only thing I'll say with these, it's you get out what you put in. So if you're not going to give any effort to your self-discovery, you're not going to receive back from it, which is the unfortunate truth. And also goes back to why my content might be a little bit spicy sometimes, is because I was raised on a lot of sugar-coated excuses or lies, and that's probably why I was overweight, because not just eating sugar-coated food, but getting sugar-coated reality of life, or like a grasp of life. So I might be a little bit harsh. Sometimes you just got to rip that Band-Aid off, and I always mean it with love, It was never from a harsh place. But sometimes we need a little bit of a slap to see what is actually going on. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episode, and it's a little bit longer than normal, but I have had a pretty interesting life and leading up to now. And so that's just the backstory of how I've come to be who I am today. And the journey is going to keep going. I make this content so that other people don't feel alone, and they can go, oh, well, she's had this or she's had that. And I'm going, no. I'm still on the journey, but I'm still grateful for how far I have come. And that's the most important thing. Like, not having the support and the acceptance that I've been wanting in this journey. I really thought that, because I used to be there for everyone. And I'm like, okay, now that I'm doing something big and scary, other people are going to be there for me. And they haven't been the way that I've expected. And that's completely fine. This is where, again, the perspective shift comes in, because it's taught me to rely on myself. And the biggest supporter, yes, it's nice to have like my mom and my boyfriend, supporting me or just give me the reassurance. But out of everything that I learned, the one thing you can take away from this is you got to be there for you. You got to be the one who picks you up when you fall down. It's up to you. And this is where you have to learn how to, if you want to make it through life and not just survive from day to day, hour to hour, and be in a victimhood mentality, it's up to you to save yourself. There is no magic pill. There's no magic diet. There's no magic course to do that can give you the answers. It has to come from within. No one can do the diet for you. No one can do the healing and the inner work and the crying and the feeling for you. It has to come through you. And it's a big responsibility. And I don't think it gets spoken enough in this day and age. It's always, take this, do this, do a naked rain dance and money's going to fall out the sky. Not the way it works. You can be Delulu. Trust me. The faith that I'm having to hold on to while I walk this path completely blind. And I'm like, I had a calling. That's what actually made me quit 8 months ago. I had a calling, and it ate at me for like 2 months. And I was just, I got to quit my job. And my partner and my mom were like, Andrea, don't do it. Don't do it, girl. I'm just thinking about it. And there came a day, and I remember it was the beginning of December, and I was like, I don't know what I have to do next, but it became time. And that's what happens when you have a calling on your heart. Like, guys, I'm also not struggling, but like I'm fumbling my way through this. And that is the beauty of it, is that I get to try. I have the opportunity right now to learn how to create a business from the ground up with my own 2 hands, my own blood, sweat, and tears, lots and lots of tears. And I can say it's mine. It's almost like bodybuilding, losing the weight. I did it. No one does it for you. So let me wrap it up there. This has been twice as long as normal, and I hope that I've been keeping you entertained along the way. But thank you for sticking around for episode 10. Like I said, next week I'll be talking about relationships and why they're actually our best, most heartbreaking, but or like most intense way to learn lessons. But it's up to you to see it that way. Anyways, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, please. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate that. Please get the message out there. As someone who's starting out, any love and support, comments, just a little bit goes a long way for me. So I'd really appreciate that. So let me let you go. And before I let you go, I just want to remind you that authenticity, it isn't just a vibe. It isn't just an aesthetic. It is your superpower. So thanks again for sticking around, guys, and I will see you in the next episode. Cheers. Bye.